his book of essays, Reappraisals, which Ferdy has already spoken about, is one of the best of its kind that I've read for a very long time indeed. Of course, I've read most of the essays already, but then I've also read Judd over the years, and I'll tell you as briefly as possible what I know about him. He's very sadly not here today, he's in New York, and his agent, Sarah Chalfant, is here. You must come here, Sarah, and stand aside for a moment, because I haven't quite finished yet. I couldn't have done a bio blurb for Tony Judd until fairly recently, but he is born in London in 1948, therefore just turned 60. He was educated at Cambridge, then went to the École Normale in Paris, and then taught at Oxford before washing up, of course, in America, like too many of our historians, where he's the professor at the New York University and runs the Remarque Institute there. Not quite in parenthesis, reading the, helping to judge this prize, it made me something that, again, something that I have thought before. The generation to which Judd belongs, and I suppose I do too, in this country, of writers, includes a number of celebrated novelists and playwrights and poets who have been held in high regard, not least by themselves, and yet history and the essay, and for that matter writing on science, are also forms of literature, and indeed forms of creative writing. And I have sometimes thought that it is the historians and essayists of this generation who may yet come to be seen as its really outstanding writers. And among those, there is no one more remarkable than Tony Judd. He began his career, he cut his academic teeth, like another old drinking companion of mine, actually, Richard Cobb. He began by not only studying in France, but writing in French. And he wrote a sombre, serious academic book on socialism in Provence in the late 19th century, before coming further forward and spreading his scope. Among the many books I have read of his and loved, he wrote a beautiful little triptych about three French heroes of his, Léon Blum, Albert Camus, and Raymond Aron. And then he wrote a magnificent book, which I do commend to anyone, called Past Imperfect, which is about the French intellectuals in the decade after 1945 and their infatuation with Stalin. For anyone suffering from what the Bloomsburys used to call French flu, the book is an absolutely infallible antidote. It would cure anyone's francophilia, even for a time mine. Judd wrote his, if not masterpiece, his magnum opus, which is post-war, a great, in every sense, history of Europe since 1945. But he also has turned, like many great historians, into a commentator on public events. He is a political and literary essayist, but also something that we don't have a word for in English, a politicologue. And he has more and more taken part in public political debate, notably in the pages of the New York Review of Books, where Robert Silvers encouraged him to write. And he has written on a variety of political subjects, but one in particular, he was, in his boyhood, a schoolboy Zionist, and he comes from, I gather, an emancipated and secular Jewish family in South London. I thought that he belonged to the Habonim. I thought, for that matter, that I knew a tiny bit about Zionism, having dipped my own toe in that water. But my colleague, my esteemed colleague, Jonathan Friedland at The Guardian, says that it wasn't Habonim, but a slightly more esoteric socialist Zionist group that Judd belonged to. And he went to Israel to work on a kibbutz and then rushed off there in 1967 during the war, all of which is highly relevant because he has made a very remarkable personal journey, and as you may know, and I hope you do know, he is now a particularly informed and trenchant critic of Israeli policy and American policy as well in the Middle East. And in all, he not only does honour to history and the political essay, but if one were trying to think of a single writer of our age who is, in the very best sense of the word, Orwellian, it would be Tony Judd. And that is why the judges decided that he deserved a special award, which I suppose is rather like the Lifetime Achievement Award at the Oscars. And we have decided on this occasion to give him this award, which it is an honour to bestow the honour on him.